It's a thumbnail? What does it look like? You put the thumbnail, right? So what does it look like right now? Go. Well, let me check on my page. I was looking at, but it's still not showing me. I'm gonna go on the live zone thing. Okay, it looks good. What is this? Switch to chariots. That's it. Let's start. Let's start. All praise and power go to Yahweh by Hashem Amasiach Yahweh Shai, but surely his mercy endure forever. We're going to rise and face the east. And with the sounding of shofar, we're going to begin the prayers. Hallelujah. 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 Go ahead.
Hallelujah.
Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
Hashem.
Yahweh Shai.
The blessing of Shabbat and Lashon Kodesh, repeating Hebrew only. Blessed be Yahweh, name anointed Yahweh Shai, that give us Shabbat in peace. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Lawa Allah Tadanah. HaShabbat. Bashalawam.
Blessed be Yahweh, name anointed Yahweh Shai, that give us the law. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai. Lawa Allah Tadanah. HaTorah.
Blessed be Yahweh, name anointed Yahweh Shai, that give us the light to see.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Hashem Mashiach Yahweh Shai.
Lawa
Allah Tadanah. Hawar.
Laka'ah.
Barakatah.
Blessed be Yahweh, name anointed Yahweh Shai, that give us the ram's horn to call the people. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai.
Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai.
Ha'ala Thanawa.
Ha'ala Thanawa.
Ha'awar.
Ha'awar.
Ha'ayol.
Ha'ayol.
Koran.
Koran.
Lakra'a.
Lakra'a.
Ha'ayin.
Ba'ayin.
Blessed be Yahweh, name anointed Yahushai, that give us the olive oil to anoint Israel. Brakta Yahweh.
Brakta Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Mashiach Yahushai.
Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai.
Ha'ala Thanawa.
Ha'ala Thanawa.
Hashaman.
Hashaman.
Zayath.
Zayath.
Lamashak.
Lamashak.
Yasha'ala.
Yasha'ala.
Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Thawada.
Thawada.
Tamyad.
Tamyad.
Aman.
Aman.
Psalms 121, the blessing of Shabbat in English.
Psalms 121. Psalms 92.
You can start from Psalms 91, 121.
I lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth, even forevermore. Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai T'waratam Yad. Amen.
Hallelujah.
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 Psalms 92, the blessing of Shabbat, read in English.
Psalms 92. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord, and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High. To shew forth thy loving kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings, and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thine hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of a unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ears shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree, he shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our power. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing. The truth of the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai T'waratam Yad. Amen.
Amen. Hallelujah.
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 Repeat the Hebrew.
Abana. Shabbat Shemayim. Kodash. Haya. Shamka. Yaha. Malakotka. Taba'a. Ratazaka. Haya. Aisha. Baratisa. Kawa. Haya. Washamayim. Atharana. Lakom. Kawom.
Waslakna.
Waslakna.
Kabwathna.
Bawathna.
Kaslakna.
Kasalakna.
Kabwathna.
Bawathinawa.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Sabyanawa.
Tabayana.
Masaiwan.
Barasaiwan.
Abo.
Abo.
Awashainawa.
Awashainawa.
Mayan.
Mayan.
Rai.
Rai. Kaya. Laka.
Hamalakwa.
Malakwa.
Wa'ala. Wa'paraf. Lawalanyam. Ba'ashem.
Ba'ashem.
Hamashiach.
Hamashiach.
Yahushai.
Yahushai.
Thawada.
Tamyad.
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 Aman.
Amen. Matthew chapter 6 verse 9. After this manner therefore pray ye, Our Father which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done in earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts as we give our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen. For if ye forgive men their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you. But if ye forgive not men their trespasses, neither will your Father forgive your trespasses. Ba'ashem Hamashiach Yahushai T'waratam Yad. Amen.
Yeah. I want to say all praise and power go to Yahweh by Shema Sakawashai, for surely his mercy endure forever. We thank you, O Yahweh, for the mercy and grace that has given us, you have brought us back to that glorious light, to our law, statutes, and commandments, that culture. I pray unto Yahweh, I thank you, O Yahweh. I pray every day that you wake up more of our people, that we may be able to leave here. I pray unto Yahweh that you may seal the heads of the 144,000, O Yahweh, that we may be able to be delivered out of this captivity. Every day here is a torment. Every day here is another day of slavery. But I pray unto Yahweh that glorious time will come, that glorious day will come when we will be delivered out of this captivity. I pray unto Yahweh you may send forth a healing spirit unto all our brothers and sisters spread across the four corners of this earth, a spirit of remembrance, a spirit of protection, O Yahweh, and a spirit of strength, that we may be able to survive and endure in these last days. Abanaya by Shema Sakawashai, Thawada, Thamyad, Aman.
Aman.
May be seated. Oh, man. I need a spirit of strength. It's hot. But Most High will endure. Ah, man. Man. Whew, man. It's clouded in here. But all praise to the Most High. This is exactly how you want it. Get that incense, get that incense. Let's get that murder. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Here, so I can see it. Right? Yes. Go on the YouTube and put the chat in the YouTube up here, but leave that down there. Okay. So, as I said before, we're going into the history of our people. We'll be going into the lives of King Saul. All right, let me know now. Am I good now? Put some ones in the chat if I'm good now. If you can hear me, put some ones in the chat. Let me get at least 1-1 before I continue this history class. Let me get 1-1. I'm not going to do this history class and nobody can hear me. There's no profit in that. Let me get one person to put a 1 in the chat. Now, I want to see a 1. This is a classroom. I want to see a 1 in the chat if you can hear me. There you go. That brother knows how to follow orders. Hallelujah. Clap it up. That brother. He knows how to follow orders. All praise to the Most High. So I want to say, what are you, in the library? Now let's get Colossians chapter 3 verse 17.
Colossians chapter 3, verse 17. And whatsoever ye do in word or deed, do all in the name of Mashiach Yahushua, giving thanks to power and the Abba by him.
So wherever we do, we have to give all praise and power go to the Most High God through his Son, Mashiach Yahushua. So we pray to the Father he may give us the understanding and the knowledge as we go into the history class tonight. We go into the history of our people, the knowledge that we can obtain from it, the wisdom that we can learn, the instructions, the way we may go in this day and age. We can learn it from this history, the history of our people, these lives of these men, these lives of these women, right? The lives of our people, our history, right? So now let's go into 1 Samuel chapter 18. Let's get straight to the portion. It's going to be a juicy one, a juicy portion tonight, juicy portion. 1 Samuel chapter 18. No, you gotta press the widen the screen. Press the square button right here to make it full screen, and then, well, it's supposed to be able to show you the screen and also the chat right next to it. There you go. That's fine. That's fine. That's good. There you go. All right, go ahead. Wait, you didn't press play though. Press the mute button on there. Yep, there you go. All right. Because if it freezes, we have to be able to see it. Go ahead.
1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
What did it say?
And Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
So Jonathan loved him as his own soul. So now let's begin with the relationship between Jonathan and David. And I remember years ago, I used to hear about our beloved brothers of the dismantle, stupid, unconscious community of Kemet, right? The unconscious community of Kemet. I remember they used to try to use points against Israel, try to say, oh, Jonathan and David was in some type of homosexual relationship. Are you crazy? Are you mad? Have you lost your mind? Read 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1 again.
And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
Jonathan loved him as his own soul, as his own life, right? It's the same way brothers be having the same type of relationships today. You know, I'm willing to die for this brother right here. I'm willing to give my life for him. Let's get Mark chapter 15. I think Mark chapter 15. Let me see real quick. No, John 15:13. That's what it was. John 15 and 13. I remember the words of our mighty King Yahweh Shai. I remember when he said this. Shabbat shalom, Shabbat shalom, Israel. Shabbat shalom. All praise to the Most High. Let's get into this. John chapter 15, verse 13. Right, so Jonathan loved David. He loved him. Jonathan and David weren't the same age. They weren't kids, right? David at this time was still a young man, which means he was under the age of 20, right? He was still a child. He was still being considered a child, so he was under the age of 20. But Jonathan, he was already going to war. If he was already going to war prior to meeting David, it means he was above the age of 20. So this was a big brother, younger brother relationship. Jonathan was older than David. David was younger than him. So it was like, okay, I see. We're both the same. You know, we both go fight. We both have faith. We both love God. We both love the Most High. And we're both serving our nation. You know, but, you know, I'll hold it down with you. You know, we'll be friends. You know, but it was more of a big brother, little brother relationship. You know, Jonathan, my big brother. David's the little brother, right? Read that. John 15:13. Let's see the words of Christ.
John 15, verse 13. Greater love hath no man than this.
Then the what?
That a man laid down his life for his friend.
That he does what?
That a man laid down his life for his friend.
Now, this is the sort of love Jonathan's referring to. All right? I love him as my own soul, my own life. I love this man, right? And not knowing that love that he has for David, that's being embedded into him by the Most High God. The Most High is building a friendship between these two people, right? Because this is going to later on help David later on in his life, and the events that's going to take place. But the Most High is building this companionship between them, and we're going to see how the Most High is doing this. Let's go back to 1 Samuel's. 1 Samuel's 18.
1 Samuel 18, verse 1. And it came to pass, when he had made an end of speaking unto Saul, that the soul of Jonathan was knit with the soul of David, and Jonathan loved him as his own soul.
Right, so pay attention to that. It said knit, right? You're knitting, you get two pieces of threads and you knit it together, they're tight. How do they get so tight? Let's read the book of Sirach, chapter 13, verse 15. Let's see how Jonathan and David got so tight so quickly. How did this happen? There's a lot of brothers in this truth. You meet another brother in this truth, you're like, dang, man. Now y'all go to camp, y'all hang out after camp. Y'all two brothers, y'all two ox. You'll give your life for that brother. He'll give a life for you, right? But there's a reason why you're so close. There's a reason why you're willing to do this for him, right? Let's read that. Sirach, chapter 13, verse 15.
Sirach 13, verse 15.
Uh-huh.
Every beast loveth his like.
What it say?
Every beast loveth his like.
Every beast loveth his like, right? What's a beast? An animal, right? So you have what? You got a lion. A lion is not going to say, let me go hang out with what? Sheep? Let me go hang out with gazelle. I'm going to hang out with lions. I'm going to roam with lions. A wolf pack. A wolf is going to make a pack with other wolves. He's not going to go gather up with some mountain lions and say, let's go hang out. No. He's going to do it with other wolves. Read on.
And every man loveth his neighbor.
Every man loveth his neighbor. Read on.
All flesh consorteth according to kind.
Interesting. All flesh. Are we flesh? Absolutely. All flesh consorteth according to kind. Read on.
And a man will cleave to his like.
And a man will cleave to his like. This is how you explain behaviors of people. Why do certain people group up with each other? Why does he hang out with him? Why does he hang out with him? Why are they always together? Why are they always together? Why are they so close so quickly? They only met each other maybe a couple of days ago. Right? Why are they hanging out so much? Why is she hanging out with her? Why every time you see her, she's always with that sister? It's because every kind will cleave to its own like. Right? When you read this in another translation, you read this in the Good News translation, it says every creature prefers its own kind, and people are no different. Just as animals of the same species flock together, so people keep company with people like themselves. A sinner has no more in common with a devout person than a wolf with a lion, with a lamb. Right? So why is Jonathan and David so knitted together? They're so hanging out. They're friends now, best friends. Because one, we observed that Jonathan is a man of war. He fights. He fights and he's not afraid. We've seen that. Haven't we, Officer Bunnacoin?
Gun.
A couple chapters before, we saw him and his armor bearer go alone to take down a whole garrison of Philistines. That's a man of courage. That's a valiant man. Now, Jonathan's standing back with his father, Saul, and they're watching as this one man, David, steps forth to kill this gigantic African Goliath. So Jonathan's standing there thinking to himself, I can be friends with him. I can hang out with this guy. One, he's a man of war. He took that sword and cut Goliath's head off. And two, he's a man of faith. You have to have faith to be willing to go do that. right? So both of them are both men of faith, and they're both men of war. That's why they were able to knit together so quickly, right? But this is very I don't want to go too further. I want to go further than that. But what I will say is, this is very it's an interesting perspective for us to. It's a very interesting perspective of knowledge that we should take for ourselves, because it makes you understand the people that you're around, right? It makes you understand. Okay, you have 3 friends. 3 of your friends talk too much. 3 of your friends are lazy. 3 of your friends steal. 3 of your friends. These guys you hang out with, they steal, they lie, they will take each other's wives. Now this should make you question your own behavior. Damn, I must be like them, because that's the only reason they're willing to hang out with me. Right? Last thing, birds of a feather flock together. But let's keep going.
Gun. And Saul took him that day, and would let him go no more home to his father's house.
Right, even Saul loved this man. Read on.
Then Jonathan and David made a covenant, because he loved him as his own soul. And Jonathan stripped himself of the robe that was upon him, and gave it to David, and his garments, even to his sword, and to his bow, and to his girdle. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely.
Pause. Hold on 1 second. Roland Deuce. I'm just going to say it as that. I'm going to say Roland. Roland, please let me know, in those days, did we hold hands and stand in circles trying to figure out how to pray when praying? No. We never. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure we never done that. We weren't just standing in circles. I don't understand. To be honest, I don't really understand your question. If you could rephrase your question for me, I'll try my best to answer it. But if your question is like along the lines of, did we ever try to figure out how to pray? I don't think so. Rephrase your question. I'll try my best to answer it. But let's keep going. Yours, verse 5.
And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. And Saul set him over the men of war, and he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servant.
Right. Let's get 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 21. This is how powerful the Most High God is. Because when we read 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 21, what is it going to say? Go ahead.
Samuel chapter 16.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 21. David came from, if I remember correctly, David came from Bethlehem. David came from Bethlehem, right? He was just a shepherd. He came from nothing. He wasn't doing anything. And now he's tagging along with the royal family of Israel, right? He's in the same household as the king of Israel, right? First, he was given the promotion of 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 21.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 21. And David came to Saul and stood before him, and he loved him greatly, and became his armor bearer.
He became the armor bearer of the king of Israel, right? How many times does that even happen? Like, what's the likelihood or percentage of someone just ending up, you see, I don't know, let's just say for America, you see the president of the United States walking down the street, and he says, you know what, I like you, kid. You're going to be my secretary. How many times does that even happen? Right? But he just got this promotion from the Lord, became the armor bearer of the king. Give me 1 Samuel, send me Psalm chapter 75, verse 6. It's 1 Samuel, not 1 Samuel, Slovakia. Psalm 75, verse 6. Right. A lot of us is like in Spanish, we're always trying to scrape to get higher in life, get higher, get promoted further in life, right? But the thing is that it's the Most High who's really the one in charge of all of that. He's the one who put us in the right place at the right time, either promotes us or demote us, right? we're in a good situation right now. Your bills are paid off, and then out of nowhere, you're on the streets. But who put you there? The Most High put you there. You're living in a 1-bedroom apartment. A year from then, now you have a good job and you have a house in the suburbs, right? 4-bedroom house. Who put you in that situation? The Most High put you in that situation. But that's a lot of times when we don't keep God's commandments, when we don't follow the law, statute, commandments, it's hard for us to see where the promotion is coming from. Where is it coming from? It's coming from the Most High. Right? Psalm 75, verse 6.
Psalm 75, verse 6. For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west.
The east, or north from the west. Read on.
Nor from the south. But God is the judge. He putteth one down and setteth up another.
Read that part one more time.
But God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another.
And he setteth up another. Right? So it's all depending on the Most High's time. Sometimes we can't really see that. Sometimes we just want things now. I want to be in a better situation right now. Putting all this stress on you, putting all this over amount of stress on you that's unnecessary. When you have your mind or your consciousness fixated on, it's on the Most High's time. It's when He wants it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I have to do, have my faith, have my works, but it's gonna always be on Him. Because something I want I could obtain in a year, the Most High will make it that I don't get it in 3 years. Something I want in 3 years, the Most High will make sure I get it next month. It's always depending on the Most High having faith in Him. And David, being a man of faith, a man of action, the Most High jumped him from a lowly shepherd, to an armor bearer of the king. And now, when we go back to 1 Samuel 18, verse 5.
1 Samuel 18, verse 5. And David went out whithersoever Saul sent him, and behaved himself wisely. Right? He had wisdom. Read on. And Saul set him over the men of war. He did what? And Saul set him over the men of war. And he set him over the men of war. So now he's not no lowly arm bearer anymore. When you read 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 5 in other translations, they will say that Saul made him a commander over the other officers, or made him a commander in his army. So he got ranked up in a position. He got ranked up, got more authority. All right, now let's read on. And he was accepted in the sight of all the people, and also in the sight of Saul's servants. Mm-hmm. And it came to pass, as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the woman...
Wait, where did David come from?
The slaughter of the Philistine.
So that means he went to what?
War.
He went to where?
War.
So before, when David slayed Goliath, he was called a what? David was being called a what?
Man of war.
No. David was, when he slayed the Goliath, he was still being called what? He was called what by the people?
What, armor bearer?
No. Think about it. It says he's going to war. What do you have to be able to go to war? Huh?
Youth.
No, to go to war. You have to be able to be what?
20 years old.
Huh?
At 20 years old.
Let's get that. Prove it. To be able to go to war in Israel, you have to be at least 20 years old. He's going to give that precept to prove it. And by the age of 20, that's when you become a man. Let's get that.
Psalm 6, Numbers chapter 1, verse... Numbers chapter 1, verse 22. Actually, that's one of them. Numbers chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month, and declared their pedigrees after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of the names from 20 years old upwards, by their polls. Mm-hmm. Let me go to 20. And the children of Reuben, Israel's eldest son, by their generations, after their families, by the house of their fathers, according to the number of their names, by their polls, every man from 20 years old and upward, all that were able to go forth to war.
Right. Everyone that was able to go forth for war. They begin to declare their pedigrees by the house of their fathers at the age of 20 years old. And at 20 years old, you're able to go to war. That's the age of a man. That's when you're declared to be a man in Israel. Now let's go back to the book of 1 Samuel.
Or Numbers chapter 1, verse 1 to 3. God. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 6.
Okay, now I understand your question, Roland. Shalom. In biblical times, did we stand in circles and hold hands while praying? If not, when did that start? I can't remember anybody in circles holding hands to pray. I cannot remember that. But there's a formula to how we pray. When we pray, we face the east, and it's not because of the direction of east, but we're facing toward Jerusalem. When you read that, you can go to Daniel's and see when Daniel opened up the window to pray toward Jerusalem when he was in Babylon as a slave. And it's the same thing even with Solomon. Solomon prayed toward the temple, prayed toward the house that he built for the Lord. After he built it, he opened up his hands and he was on his knees. He had his face toward the ground, right? So praying on your knees, you can do that. Standing up, you can do that. You can even sit down and pray. But when it comes to standing in circles and holding hands, I would not say that that's a formula of how you to technically pray. I would technically wouldn't say that's how you would pray. There's times where you can stand in a circle. When it comes to the priest, they would anoint somebody. They would anoint somebody based off Numbers chapter 6, verse 24. But when it comes to praying, no, we face toward Jerusalem. We don't stand in circles. I hope I answered your question. If you need any precepts, I can get you precepts of it by the end of the class. Let's keep going. Where are we at?
1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 6.
Uh-huh.
And it came to pass, as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all cities of Israel singing and dancing to meet King.
Oh, Salakia. Just in case hopefully I didn't forget. It says, if not, when did it start? I'm not sure when it actually started. People started doing that, right? But there was one class I was interested in doing is explaining why did Christians pray like this and where does this concept come from? But that's enough for another class. But go ahead, you can go ahead.
To meet King Saul with timbrets, with joy, and with instruments of music.
What verse you at?
6.
6. Okay, keep going. Yeah, keep going.
And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands.
What did he do?
Saul hath slain his thousands.
Now, that's a mighty thing. That's a powerful thing. You slay thousands of people, thousands of filthy Africans who want to kill us, black and Hispanics, who want to kill us as Israelites. That's a mighty thing, an honor. But keep going.
And David his 10,000.
David what?
David is 10,000.
And David his 10,000s, right? So the women are basically saying, Saul is mighty, but David is mightier. No, you can go check that out. Right? So Saul is mighty, Saul is powerful, but David is much more powerful. And that statement alone is gonna rise up an evil spirit that's already in Saul. Right? Let's read that one more time. 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 6. And it came to pass as they came, when David was returned from the slaughter of the Philistine, that the women came out of all the cities of Israel, singing and dancing to meet King Saul, with tabrets, with joy, and with instruments of music. And the women answered one another as they played, and said, Saul hath slain his thousands, and David hits 10,000s. You need some Benadryl? Pep in your step. Go ahead. Keep going.
And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
Right, what is that? That doesn't mean anything. That doesn't mean anything at all. Right? Because when we go into 2 Samuel, when we read about David's army, we're going to read about different soldiers that were killing thousands and thousands of men, thousands of Egyptians, thousands of Philistines, hundreds of them. And some of them outnumbered even David. But David's not standing there thinking, oh, this nigga trying to take the kingdom from me. This evil Negro, he's trying to steal the crown from me. David wasn't thinking that. Right? But Saul is thinking about this is because he has an evil spirit on him. Right? But one of the important details is that it says Saul was very wroth. Actually, read verse 8 one more time.
And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000, and to me they have ascribed but thousands. And what can he have more but the kingdom?
Right. So the simple fact that Saul repeated that is that he realized something. What? These people, he has the love of the people. The people love him. The fact that they're saying that he has 10,000 slain and King Saul only has 1,000, he has the heart of the people. People see David, they're seeing the war, the fighting he's doing. So the people loves David. Read on.
And Saul eyed David from that day forward. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house.
All right, we'll get there. Read verse 9 one more time.
And Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
And the amazing thing is that Saul shouldn't be surprised at David's actions or the people's reaction to David. He shouldn't be surprised at any of this. But it's because just like Esau was in the flesh and saw his birthright as nothing and sold it for just a soup, it's the same way Saul cared nothing about the warning Samuel gave him. Samuel warned him of this, right? Samuel tried to warn him of this and told him. 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 13. 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 13. Samuel warned him that this was going to happen. So he shouldn't be surprised.
1 Samuel 13, verse 13. And Samuel said to Saul, Thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever.
Right, because he burned that sacrifice and he ain't no Levite. Right, read on.
But now thy kingdom shall not continue.
The kingdom shall not what?
But now thy kingdom shall not continue.
This is only 2 years in, and this wicked Benjamin, King Saul, he's already lost the kingdom. From this point right here, he's already lost the kingdom. Everything from this point onward is just leading up to David taking it. From the next man taking it, the next righteous man taking it. But do not be mistaken. From this point right here specifically, he lost the kingdom already. And let's read on to see what Samuel says. Keep going.
And it came to pass, it's 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 10. And it came to pass.
1 Samuel chapter 13.
1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 15.
No, it's 1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 13.
You said.
Yeah, continue where you're at. 1 Samuel chapter 13.
1 Samuel chapter 13, verse 13. And Samuel said to Saul, Thou hast done foolishly. Thou hast not kept the commandment of the Lord thy God, which he commanded thee. For now would the Lord have established thy kingdom upon Israel forever. But now thy kingdom shall not continue.
It shall not continue. He told him that. Read on.
The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart.
What did it say?
The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart.
He's looking for a man after his own heart. If I told you, listen, you're going to be fired. I'm going to fire you. I'm your manager. I'm looking at you. You're going to be fired. But every day you're still working there. You're still getting a paycheck. Every week passed by. Another week passed by. What do you think? You start forgetting. You don't consider what I said. You don't care about what I said because you're still working there. But in my mind, the one who's controlling all of this, you're already fired. You're already fired. You're finished. All right? Until that day, hold on. Until that day, read 1 Samuel 13 verse 14. I lost my train of thought.
But now thy kingdom shall not continue. The Lord hath sought him a man after his own heart, and the Lord hath commanded him to be captain over his people.
Right, I fire you, but you're not going to take it serious. If you can still be working there, but you're fired in my mind. You're not going to start taking it serious until what? You start seeing me bring in new people. You start seeing me looking for new people. Then you're going to realize in your mind, yo, he really is going to get rid of me. He is going to lose me. Then you begin to get something what? Something with a capital P. It begins called, no. Starts with a capital P. Nope. I'm going to replace
He's talking about
you.
paranoid.
You become paranoid. You become very paranoid. You become very scared. Right? Now read on. Saw him a man after his own heart.
And the Lord hath commanded him to be captain over his people, because thou hast not kept that which the Lord commanded thee.
So the Lord Ben told him this. Samuel Ben warned him of this, but he didn't listen. He didn't care. Because read the next verse.
And Samuel arose and gat him up from Gilgal unto Gilbeah.
So Samuel told him what he told him, right? What he had to tell him. But read on. Let's see what Saul did. Let's see if Saul repented or he turned back or he sought after Samuel to try to do something to fix this. Let's see what Saul did. Go ahead.
Unto Gilbeah of Benjamin.
What happened?
Unto Gilbeah of Benjamin. And Saul numbered the people.
Wait, hold on. You're missing a part. You forgot to say and gat him up from Gilgal onto Gibeah. Read 15 one more time. That's why I was like I don't remember that part. Read 1 Samuel 13 through 15.
And Samuel arose and gat him up from Gilgal unto Gibeah. Gibeah of Benjamin. Gibeah of Benjamin. And Saul numbered the people that were present with him, about 600 men.
Did Saul say anything about repentance? Kanala. Is he talking about let me go seek the Most High? Kanala. Because he did not care what Samuel had to say. He didn't care that Samuel was a prophet of the Lord, which means he don't care what the Most High had to say. He's not in the spirit; he's entirely in the flesh. Right? It's the same way with Esau. Esau didn't care until what? Until it was time to get blessed. Now Samuel, just like with Esau, Saul didn't care until he sees his replacement standing right there in front of him, being honored by the people. That's why 1 Samuel chapter 18 verse 9. Let's get back to it.
1 Samuel chapter 18 verse 9. And Saul eyed David from that day forward.
And then that day forward, he began to eye David. Started watching his actions, his movements. All right, let's keep going.
And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times. Right. And there was a javelin in Saul's hand.
David had two occupations. He was a part of the army, but when he wasn't at wasn't at the battles, when he was at home, he was also occupied? No, employed. He was also employed by King David to do what? Treat him of his illness. Because the minute that Saul lost the spirit, the Holy Spirit, the Spirit of the Lord, he was given what?
An evil spirit.
He was given an evil spirit. Let's read 1 Samuel 16 and 15.
First Samuel chapter 16, verse 15.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul's servants said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee.
It does what?
An evil spirit from God troubleth thee.
Right, it troubleth thee. Now, this evil spirit is a spirit from the Lord, right? And it's troubling him. When you go to that word for trouble, it's the Hebrew word ba'if, right? And when you go to that word ba'if, the etymology of the word deals with, the definition of the word deals with scared, being terrified, being fearful, constantly being in the sense of afraid, right? And when it comes to mental illness, Saul was afflicted with paranoia and schizophrenia. When we go further into his behavior, the way he behaves amongst his servants, his family members, he reacts to David, we're going to see how it plays out further, how it actually fulfills schizophrenia and paranoia. Okay, let's go back. First Samuel chapter 18.
First Samuel chapter 18, verse 10. And it came to pass on the morrow that the evil spirit from God came upon Saul, and he prophesied in the midst of the house. And David played with his hand, as at other times, and there was a javelin in Saul's hand. And Saul cast the javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice.
Right. So this behavior, this action that Saul just did, it was based off him being troubled by the evil spirit. When we first read 1 Samuel chapter 16 and we see how the servants reacted Saul when he lost the spirit of the Lord, let's read 1 Samuel chapter 16 verse 14.
1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 14. But the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
Read him.
And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee.
So, where's Officer Barza? Baha. Let's read it one more time. Read 14.
And the Spirit of the Lord departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord troubled him.
Right, so the Spirit of the Lord, the Holy Spirit departed from Saul, and the evil spirit from the Lord troubled him. It bothered him. Right? Read the next verse.
And Saul's servant said unto him, Behold now, an evil spirit from God troubleth thee.
Okay, so when we read verse 14, did it mention anything about the people seeing an angel? Did it mention them seeing some spirit come out from the ceiling and go into Saul like Ant-Man or something like that? How did they know an evil spirit came from the Lord? And how did they know that was troubling him? What did they see? They saw something. He hasn't. I know what you're saying, but his behavior toward David hasn't changed yet. It didn't change until all the way in chapter 18. But the servants saw something. That's the question. They saw something, and that's how they knew an evil spirit is now in Saul. But they didn't see the spirit. The question is, what did they see? Ready? I'm going to give you a hint. It's a big hint. They saw something change about Saul. What was it that changed? His No. What is it? What changed about Saul? How did the people knew that an evil spirit was now in him? Something changed about Saul. What is it that changed? It was his, you're not going to like it if I say it. It was his behavior. Saul's behavior changed. He went from the hearty, I wanted a better word than that. He went from a hearty Benjamite man who was willing to stand up, filled with the Holy Spirit, to go fight and kill for his people, man. Fight and stand proudly for his God. Now his behavior has changed. They've seen a difference in how he's moving, he's operating. And when they saw that, they said, there's an evil spirit on this man. There's something wrong with him. Right? What are you doing back there? Just lock it and come over here in class. But keep going. They saw his behavior change. And that's how they knew an evil spirit has come into him. And he went from a rational person to a man with paranoia, scared.
1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 11.
Mm-hmm.
And Saul cast a javelin, for he said, I will smite David even to the wall with it. And David avoided out of his presence twice. And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul.
So the question is, what does he have to be afraid of David so far? What has David done? But what physically though, outside of spiritual, what has David actually done? Was he talking to Saul's daughter on the low? Was he sliding into his daughter's DMs? Was he doing something offensive to Saul? Nothing. So there was something messing with Saul. There was something afflicting him. And as we go further, I'm going to show you it is a paranoia and schizophrenia. That's what's afflicting Saul at this moment. Paranoia and schizophrenia. Right? Keep going.
And Saul was afraid of David, because the Lord was with him, and was departed from Saul. Therefore Saul removed him from him, and made him captain over 1,000.
All right, so now he went from an armor bearer to a commander. Now he's a captain over thousands. It says 1,000 there, but when we go into the law, it's captain over thousands. All right, so he's captain over thousands. This is a heavy for someone you hate and someone you don't like. You give him a lot of promotions. All right, keep going.
And he went out and came in before the people. And David behaved himself wisely in all his ways, and the Lord was with him. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him.
Hold on. Absolutely. Yashar Yehuda or Yashar Yahawada. I'll say Yehuda for you. What about Psalm 78:49? Evil angels, is there a connection? Absolutely. If you watched the class previously from last week, I was showing an example how evil angels, evil spirits, demons, devils, it's all interchangeable terms within the Bible. So even here in Psalm chapter 16, where it says an evil spirit came into him from the Lord, you can even, if you like, you can call it an evil angel. Because they're just all the same, it's all different terms for the same thing, right? So Psalm 78, verse 49, perfect verse, absolutely. Read on. Where are you at?
15. Wherefore, when Saul saw that he behaved himself very wisely, he was afraid of him. But all Israel and Judah loved David, because he went out and came in before them. And Saul said to David, Behold, my elder daughter Merab, her will I give thee to wife. Only be thou valiant for me, and fight the Lord's battles. For Saul said that, let not mine hand be upon him. Let the hand of the Philistines be upon him. And David said unto Saul, Who am I, and what is my life, or my father's family in Israel, that I should be the son-in-law to the king?
Right. One, that's humility. Right. Officer Barzo, give me the book of Proverbs 15:33. Keep going, Officer Banakan.
But it came to pass at that time, when Merab, Saul's daughter, should have been given to David, that she was given to Adriel the Maholite to wife. And Michal, Saul's daughter, loved David. And they told Saul, and the thing pleased him. And Saul said, I'll give him her, that she may be a snare to him.
That she may be what?
That she may be a snare to him.
That she may be a snare to him. I'm going to give her to him, but she's going to be a snare to him. How? That's his daughter. He's going to instruct her to do things, get into his mind, mess with him, mess with his peace, right? The things in your mind, the things that go through your mind, that's how you establish your peace. And if you have an evil woman, that evil woman can disturb that peace. And Saul, having control over his daughter, he's going to marry her off to David so she can become a pillar of stress and not a pillar of rest, right? But it's funny. Keep reading verse 21.
And the hand of the Philistines may be against him. Wherefore Saul said to David, Thou shalt this day be my son-in-law in the one of the twain.
Right, pause. Psalms 15:33. 15:33. You have to read with camp voice so they can hear you. Proverbs 15:33. Come on.
This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 15, and verse 33.
A little louder.
The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility.
Humility, and that's what David displayed in verse 18. He displayed humility, right? It's like, it's not a light thing, a simple thing, just to be the son-in-law of the king. Are you serious? That's God's anointed. But now, read Psalms chapter 37. Psalms 37, verse 12. You can keep reading, Officer Barnakat. You can find Officer Barzo, find me Psalms 37, verse 12 and 13. Keep reading, Officer Barnakat.
And Saul commanded his servants, saying, Commune with David secretly, and say, Behold, the king hath delight in thee, and all his servants love thee. Now therefore, be the king's son-in-law.
Pause. Con, read. Now remember what it said in verse 21. I'm going to give her to him. I'm going to give her to him to be a snare. Right? Let's look at what the Most High said. Psalm 37, verse 13, I think.
Verse 12.
Verse 12, there you go.
This is the book of Psalm 37, and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
The wicked plotted against the just.
What did it say?
The wicked plotted against the just.
The wicked plotteth against the just, right? Read on.
And gnasheth upon him with his teeth.
And he gnasheth upon him with his teeth. Come on.
The Lord shall laugh at him.
What shall the Lord do?
The Lord shall laugh at him.
People say, black people like to say God has a sense of humor, right? The Lord shall laugh at him. Read on.
For he seeth that his day is coming.
And the Lord seeth his days cometh. Right? You try to set up a little trap for the righteous, for the just. But guess what? The Most High God sees how this is all going to end. Right? It's like the coyote and the roadrunner. The coyote, he sets a little a trap or whatever, and the roadrunner, he runs right past it, and the coyote gets trapped in his own trap. The Lord's just sitting there laughing, looking at all this set up, because he sets all of this up. He's watching all of it play out. Right? Let's go back.
And Saul's servant spake those words in the ears of David. And David said, Seemeth it to you a light thing to be a king's son-in-law, seeing that I am a poor man and lightly esteemed?
Listen, I'm a poor man. Now, this one right here, this part right here is not dealing with humility. This is just the honest truth. He came from a simple family. He was a shepherd. His people came from Bethlehem. It's just a simple town. That's it. So this was just the honest truth. This wasn't dealing with humility. This was just the truth. He just came from a simple family. You know, there's a lot that he's gaining. If he was to just take her, there's a lot that he gains from marrying the king's daughter. What does he gain? He gets closer to the king. Easier to obtain promotion. He's a part of the family now. I'll be more willing to give somebody who's in my family the promotion than just anybody. Right? Because we're knitted together. We're close together. Right? And it keeps me in power. And not only that, but also if David marries her, he obtains what? He obtains closeness with the royal family. Right? He obtains closeness with the royal family. So he doesn't see that as a light thing. He's like, yo, I'm a poor man. I don't know how much can I afford to give to him for a dowry. That's what's going through his mind. What can I really give to him to have his daughter, the princess of the nation of Israel? All right, read on. Come on.
24. And the servants of Saul told him, saying,
Oh, his first time was 18,
I did 20.
24. Oh, you're right. 24. I was looking at 25.
And the servants of Saul told him, saying, On this manner spake David. And Saul said, Thus shall ye say to David, The king desireth not any dowry,
See, the focus was the dowry. That's what David was going through his mind about. Read on.
but 100 foreskins of the Philistines,
100 foreskins of the Philistines. Oh my God. Read on.
to be avenged of the king's enemies. But Saul thought to make David fall by the hand of the Philistine. And when his servants told David these words, it pleased David well to be the king's son-in-law, and the days were not expired. Wherefore David arose and went, he and his men, and slew the Philistines 200 men. And David brought their foreskins, and gave them in full tale to the king, that he might be the king's son-in-law.
Right, he really didn't care about the foreskins. He just knew the difficulty that it is that you're gonna go to war, you're battling, you're killing people, and then you have to stop. You have to circumcise this number of people. You have to kill them, take these dead bodies, circumcise their foreskins, bring it back. That's a lot of work. It's hard enough just going to war to kill these people, but now you're going to war to kill them and circumcise them. He really wanted this man to die, but guess what? The Most High was on his side. All right, read on.
And Saul gave him Michal his daughter to wife. And Saul saw and knew that the Lord was with David, and that Michal, Saul's daughter, loved him. And Saul was yet more afraid of David, and Saul became David's enemy continually. And the princes of the Philistines went forth. And it came to pass, after they went forth, that David behaved himself more wisely than all the servants of Saul, so that his name was much set by.
Right. So now, before we go to the next chapter, we're going to pause and prove that this man Saul, as we see so far, has paranoia and schizophrenia. This is the form and shape in which the evil spirit has taken to afflict Saul in his psyche, to afflict him in his mind. Right? Let's go to the source I sent you. Start with the other one. The other one first. Yeah, that one. Share. It's right there. Okay, go ahead.
Paranoia is the irrational and persistent feeling that people are going to get or out to get you.
Take your time. Read it one more time.
Paranoia is the
Paranoia.
is the irrational and persistent feeling that people are out to get you.
Keep going.
The three main types of paranoia include paranoid personality disorder, delusional form of paranoid disorder, and paranoid schizophrenia.
So he had a mixture of all three types of paranoia, right? You have paranoia, you have the delusional disorder, paranoid personality disorder, which is like PPD, and then you also have the DPS, or disorder paranoid schizophrenia, which is just some people just call it schizophrenia. Read on.
Treatment aims
Jump down to what is. Right there, yeah. What is?
Paranoia is the irrational and persistent feeling that people are out to get you, or that you are the subject of persistent
Persistent and intrusive action.
Intrusive action by others.
Mm-hmm.
This unfound mistrust of others can make it difficult for a person with paranoia to function socially or have close relationships.
So we're going to see, as Saul's illness, this evil spirits caused an illness on Saul, which is paranoia. And we're going to see as the illness causes his character to begin to deteriorate over time, right? It's going to become to further deteriorate. And one of the key leading points on why it begins to deteriorate is 1 Samuel. So let's read 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 12. Let's see why Saul's disorder of paranoia and schizophrenia began to deteriorate his character further. Let's see where it began at. 1 Samuel 18:12.
1 Samuel 18, verse 12.
Uh-huh.
And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul.
Uh-huh.
Therefore Saul removed from him, and
because he was afraid of him, paranoid of him, scared of him, he removed him. Read on. Come on.
And therefore Saul removed from him and made him his captain over 1,000.
So now that Saul removed David from his presence. What is David not doing for him anymore? What is he not doing? Officer Barzal? Read verse 12 again.
And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul.
So Saul was inflicted with a mental illness. That mental illness, as we know today, is paranoia and schizophrenia. That's the form in which the evil spirit is taken to afflict them. As we see Saul's behavior further on into the scriptures, we're going to see how it plays out. But when it comes to right here, where does it begin to deteriorate and further increase? It begins right here at 1 Samuel 18, verse 12 to 13. Read it one more time.
And Saul was afraid of David because the Lord was with him and was departed from Saul.
He departed from Saul. Read on.
Therefore Saul removed him from him and made him captain over 1,000.
He made him captain over thousands, right? He made him captain over thousands. Therefore, he's not doing something else. What else? What is David not doing for Saul anymore? No. I said it earlier in the class. David was a hired. Was I further the other word for it? He was hired by Saul for two things: work the army, and to do what for Saul. But before he became his armor bearer, he was doing what for Saul? He was what? What is David known for? A shepherd. But after that, he was known for what? His His music playing. He was no longer playing music before Saul's. And that music was actually helping him in his illness. It was treating it. Right? It was helping, it was treating his mental illness. And because that he was no longer getting those treatments, his illness is becoming worse. It's deteriorating. What is it? What is Yeshua Yehuda says? What do you think the music physically did for Saul? No problem. I'll tell you what it did for him. And actually, I'll prove it with some studies that's been done, right? But let's continue. Let's go back to Paranoia. I'll prove, no problem. I'll explain it. Let's go back to Paranoia.
The cause of paranoia is unknown, but genetics are thought to play a role.
Genetics was thought to play a role, but let's jump down to symptoms. That's more important. Paranoid symptoms may range from mild to severe. They depend on the cause, but generally, a person who is paranoid may, read on.
Paranoid symptoms may range from mid to severe.
No, you can read off the symptoms. That's right. That's why I read that part already.
Be easily offended. Find it difficult to trust others. Not cope with any type of criticism. Assign harmful meanings to other people's remarks. Be always on the defensive.
I like that one first. What did it say? He said assign harmful meanings to other people's remarks, right? Things that people are doing, he thinks they're doing that to harm him. Things people are saying, he thinks they're doing that to harm him, to afflict him in some shape or form. Let's read 1 Samuel 18:8. I need a couple of y'all a little closer, because I want to get through this real quick so we can get to the next chapter. So one of you get 1 Samuel chapter 18, verse 8. 1 Samuel 18:8, read it.
This book of 1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 8.
Camp voice.
Book of 1 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 8.
Uh-huh.
And Saul was very wroth, and the saying displeased him. And he said, They have ascribed unto David 10,000s, and to me they have ascribed but thousands.
Only thousands. Now read that symptom one more time. Assign harmful meanings.
Assign harmful meanings to other people's remarks.
So they made this remark about David and Saul, and what did Saul take it as? He take it as an offense.
Yep.
Right? Read it. Keep going.
And what can we have? And what can he have more but the kingdom?
What can he have more but my kingdom, my throne?
That's all that's left.
Right? He's scared now. He's terrified, but this was just a remark. Of course, David is going to be killing more people, be at war killing more of these Philistines than you, because you're the king. You're going to be sitting at home. It's more important that a soldier's out there in the front than the king. Because if we lose the king, that's like losing 1 million people, right? So it will only make sense in the mind of a logical thinking person. But for him, being mentally ill, he wouldn't think that. He think this is an offense. Let's keep reading the symptoms.
Be hostile, aggressive, and argumentative. Not be able to compromise.
Not able to compromise, read on.
Find it difficult, if not impossible, to forgive and forget.
Read 1 Samuel 18, verse 9. Officer Barzo.
It's the book of 1 Samuel to the 18 and verse 9. And Saul eyed David from that day and forward.
And what?
And forward.
And forward. So I put down a couple of the symptoms that's written there for paranoia. And one of them is being easily offended, find it difficult to trust others, be overly suspicious, for example, think that other people are lying or scheming to cheat them. Does this not fulfill Saul's behavior? Was he like this before he lost the spirit? He was not. He became very paranoid and very schizophrenic. Read on. Can you read on some more some symptoms?
Find it difficult. Assume that people are talking ill of them behind their back.
Mm-hmm.
Be overly suspicious. For example, think that other people are lying or scheming to cheat them.
Right.
Not be able to confide in anyone. Find relationships difficult. Consider the world to be a place of constant threat. Feel persecuted by the world at large.
Mm-hmm.
Believe in unfounded conspiracy theories.
And believe in unfounded conspiracy theories. Now let's touch. I'm not going to waste any more. I'm not going to go on just for the process of time. We're gonna go first into the music, right? Saul was afflicted with this mental illness. The people saw it. They saw it by the changing of his behavior. They never saw the angel, but they saw the spirit come into Saul, by the changing of his behavior. He became very paranoid, schizophrenic, and stayed to himself, right? They didn't see that before, but now he was doing it. So one of the solutions to treat this illness that they said was to what? Let's find a musician. He's going to play music before you, and it's going to help you. We had that knowledge. We understood that, right? Now, let's read this study that was made in 2010 talking about something along these lines. Let's read that. Smith College.
The effects of music on the negative symptoms of schizophrenia.
What did it say?
The effects of music on the negative symptoms of schizophrenia.
So in 2010, there was a whole study made on dealing with people who have paranoia and schizophrenic. That were schizophrenic, right? There was a rise in the number when you read the statistics in 2010 all the way to 2015. And one of the ways they found out how to deal with it is music, because music can be what? Therapeutic. It can heal you. Music can actually heal you, and this is the knowledge that we already had. The Most High didn't have to tell the servants, "Yo, give them the solution." They already knew it, right? So they were already used to dealing with this type of situation, right? Keep reading.
A project based upon an instant investigation at Hartford Hospital's Institute of Living, Hartford, Connecticut.
Jump down to abstract. This study was undertaken.
This study was undertaken in order to examine and present a rationale for the use of music in a schizophrenia rehabilitation program for outpatients. It was hypothesized that a positive
Shemai. Go ahead,
affective shift can be created in clients participating in group music psychotherapy.
Mm-hmm. Here, jump down to chapter 1, the introduction. Scroll down to chapter 1, the introduction. Give me 1 second. Let me read that first. Chapter 1, introduction.
Chapter 1, introduction. The purpose of this project was to identify how music implemented as a therapeutic tool with clients in a schizophrenia rehabilitation program affects the negative symptoms of this often debilitating disease.
Right. Mm-hmm.
This project explored whether some of these symptoms can be ameliorated with the use of music as a therapeutic tool.
So they noticed in 2010 that they were helping a lot more people. A lot more people were being helped with what? Just using music to cure their paranoia and their schizophrenia. A lot of people who have this, they're more refrained, they're more back, they don't want to hang with a lot of people, they're more reserved. They can't find anybody they can trust or actually build a relationship with. You had something you want to say on that, Officer Barza? Let them say on the mic. I want to make sure that they can hear you, because even though you read it, I feel like they can't hear you. But just in case.
You know, XXX whatever his name was.
Mm-hmm.
So he was going on about it. He was doing research on his music, how it can reach more people, and he had found that through studies like he did also about how music can touch people, how it can change people's emotions. So a lot of time. a lot of times we listen to
You
music.
gotta start over.
Okay,
I
so-
probably couldn't hear you.
So I was listening to this interview from XXXTentacion a while back before he died, and he was talking about how he was doing research into his music and how it affects the minds of people. And if he said something along the lines about how these record labels who do all these studies and all these things they do, they know the effect music has on the people. That's why they push a certain type of music. Just like when you listen to hip hop music, it might get you rowdy, it might get you like hyped up, or you listen to R&B, make you feel like emotional, feel good. They know that music has an effect on the minds of people, just like the study you're using shows. So our people been know this is the thing. Record labels know this is the thing. Our enemies know that using music can use to be either heal people or it can destroy people. That's all I wanted to touch on. I was trying to ask what the guy's name was.
Right. Yeah, I do want to shoot up. You can stop sharing the screen. I'm gonna put the source on the bottom of the page. Hopefully, put the source in the description, so you can read on and keep reading on to the rest of this investigation. But the reason why David was sent there to Saul is because playing music is therapeutic. It's something that can heal his mental illness. This is information our people already had, and this is just showing another example that Esau is just playing catch up. He's playing catch up, and he's bringing up old things we already done and presenting to us as if it's a new thing. It's the same game year after year after year after year. All these phones and all this stuff that we do every day today, it's all garbage. We had things like this back in the first, second, third, fourth century. We had a far more greater technological devices and technological advances that's far more superior than the things that we have today. But Esau is just catching up. Esau does all these things, make it seem like he just came up with it, but he's really getting the schematics from us. That's where he's getting the schematics from. And this is just another example of that. But you can stop sharing the screen. Okay, let's go back to 1 Samuel's. First Samuel's 18. No, it's not First Samuel's 18. He's finished that already. Yeah, it's First Samuel's 19.
First Samuel chapter 19. And Saul spake to Jonathan his son and to all his servants that they should kill David. But Jonathan, Saul's son, delighted much in David. And Jonathan told David, saying, Saul my father seeketh to kill thee. Now therefore I pray thee, take heed to thyself until the morning, and abide in a secret place, and hide thyself. And I will go out and stand beside my father in the field where thou art, and will commune with my father of thee.
Right. So there was another page. There was another page about paranoia. It talks about how it can affect a person, and it will just deal with that person and another person. That's it. Right. Like when it comes to everyone else, they're fine. You deal with them. You interact with them as normal. But there's a time when you have a paranoia or schizophrenia where it only deals with you have a specific problem with this one person. This one person right here, that's it. He's your problem. You're afraid of him. You're scared of him. You're terrified of him. That's it. I remember reading a study on that. And then the next level of it is dealing with people, all people around you. Doesn't matter who it is. So, yeah, I wanted to speak on that. But, so we saw how it dealt with David. His interaction with David is toxic. But now let's see how he deals with his own son. Right? Let's see. Go ahead, read.
And Jonathan spake good of David unto his father, and said unto him, Let not the king sin against his servant, against David, because he hath not sinned against thee, and because his works have been to thee very good. And he put his life in his hand, and slew the Philistine. And the Lord wrought a great salvation for all Israel. Thou sawest it, and didst rejoice. Wherefore then wilt thou sin against innocent blood to slay David without a cause? And Saul hearkened unto the voice of Jonathan.
He hearkened. You know?
And Saul sware, As the Lord liveth, he shall not be slain. And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan shewed him all those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past.
And now some people will say, well, it sounds like Saul is changing. You know, sound like he's growing as a person. But what does this sound like to us as physicians in his word? This is called bipolarism. He's behaving one way, and then he's behaving another sort of way. A lot of us, when we deal with a lot of our women, we see these same symptoms amongst our own women. You know, you say one thing, everything's fine one day, and then tomorrow, who's this demon I'm sleeping next to? All right? This is a princess today, and tomorrow, it's a black dragon. Where did it come from? Right? But I kid. But I love the black and Spanish Native American women. Right? I love you. You're 12 tribes of Israel. You're loved by the Most High God. Right? But it's just seeing this right here, it shows us that it's bipolarism. And we're going to see how it continues. Keep going. Well, that's your problem, Christine McDonald. People in the Christian church like to hold hands and pray. Well, there's homosexuals in the Christian church, right? There's pedophiles in the Christian church. So it kind of makes sense why they like to hold hands and pray, right? It makes sense. All right, let's keep going.
And Jonathan called David, and Jonathan shewed him all those things. And Jonathan brought David to Saul, and he was in his presence as in times past. Mm-hmm. And there was a war again, and David went out and fought with the Philistines, and slew them with a great slaughter, and they fled from him. And the evil spirit from God was upon Saul, as he sat in his house with his javelin in his hand, and David played with his hand.
David came back to treat his illness, right? We done? Keep going.
And Saul sought to smite David even to the wall with the javelin. Mm-hmm. But he slipped away out of Saul's presence, and he smote the javelin into the wall, and David fled and escaped that night. Saul also sent messengers to David's house to watch him, and to slay him in the morning. And Michal, David's wife, told him, saying, If thou save not thy life tonight, tomorrow thou shalt be slain. So Michal let David down through a window, and he went and fled and escaped. And Michal took an image and laid it in the bed, and put a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster, and covered it with a cloth. And when Saul sent messengers to take David, she said, He is sick. And Saul sent the messengers again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed.
Okay, I remember this. Not this part specifically, but the fact that, he went from seeing him as he saw him the first time. It was a peaceful conversation, peaceful everything. And then they went back to play it. Then he tries to assassinate David again, right? And David had to flee from his presence. I remember last week we read a definition for PPD, which deals with the paranoia. It says often first appears in early adulthood and is more common in men than women. Research suggests, I don't know that too much, but men and women, right? Research suggests that it may be more prevalent in those with family history of schizophrenia. Someone with paranoid personality disorder doesn't see their suspicious behavior as unusual or unwarranted. There's always a reason. There's a reason why. There's a reason why you're doing this. Well, you almost killed him. There's a reason why. All right? What's the reason? I don't know. I want him dead. That's reason enough. I'm the king. All right? Let's keep going. Keep going. Where are you at?
17.
First Samuel chapter 19, verse
17.
17, yeah.
And Saul said unto Michal, Why hast thou deceived me so? And sent... 15. And Saul sent his messengers again to see David, saying, Bring him up to me in the bed, that I may slay him. And when the messengers were come in, behold, there was an image in the bed, with a pillow of goat's hair for his bolster.
All right, keep going.
And Saul said unto Michal, Why hast thou deceived me so, and sent away mine enemy, that he is escaped? And Michal answered Saul, He said unto me, Let me go. Why should I kill thee?
Right. So he said that what? To deceive Saul. No, he said no. He threatened my life. He threatened my life. That's why I had to let him go. That's why I had to trick you. He tried to kill me. All right. Read on.
So David fled and escaped, and came to Samuel to Ramah, and told him all that son had done to him. And behold, Samuel went and dwelt in Naioth. And it was told Saul, saying, Behold, David is at Naioth in Ramah. And Saul sent messengers to take David. And when they saw the company of the prophets prophesying, and Samuel standing as appointed over them, the Spirit of God was upon the messengers of Saul, and they also prophesied. And when it was told Saul, he sent other messengers, and they prophesied likewise. And Saul sent messengers again the third time, and they prophesied also.
Right. So Samuel had that Holy Spirit. Samuel had that a larger amount of the Holy Spirit. He was able to dispel it onto these servants who was trying to come for David. Every time they came, that spirit would affect them, and they would begin to prophesy. They would begin to forget that they came there to kill this guy, right? Came there to capture him. Read on.
And he went thither. Oh, it's like it. 22. Then he went also to Ramah, and came to a great wall that is in Sechu. And he asked and said, Where are Samuel and David? And one said, Behold, they be at Naioth in Ramah. And he went thither to Naioth in Ramah, and the Spirit of God was upon him also, and he went on, and prophesied, until he came to Naioth in Ramah. And he stripped off his clothes also, and prophesied before Samuel in like manner, and lay down naked all that day and all that night. Wherefore they say, Is Saul also among the prophets?
You done?
And David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came and said before Jonathan, What have I done? What is mine iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father, that thou seekest my life? And he said unto him, God forbid thou shalt not die. Behold, my father will do nothing either great or small.
Wait, hold on. Read verse 1 one more time.
And David fled from Naioth in Ramah, and came and said before Jonathan, What have I done? What is mine iniquity? And what is my sin before thy father, that he seeketh my life?
Right, and it's absolutely nothing. He's done absolutely nothing. He behaved wise, but the thing is that this is the punishment of Saul, right? The Most High took him from being a rational person because he kept disobeying the Heavenly Father. Most High had to take that Holy Spirit from him. Now he became a paranoid, schizophrenic, crazy man who thinks the whole world is out to kill him, everyone out against him, right? So you just finished verse 1, right? You just finished verse 1? Okay, he just finished verse 1. Well, I want to give the brother an opportunity to give his testimony on his experience with schizophrenia. ruling, trying to break up the family off that pagan stuff. Pagan stuff. Oh yeah, if you're talking more about Christianity, that's gonna be a hard, difficult job to do. But what I will say, the best option you can do is be an example by keeping the law, statute, commandments yourself, and constantly never what's the word for it? What's the word for it? Not submit. Compromise. Never compromise. Never compromise. When it comes to the law, statute, commandments, never compromise. Officer Barzo, what you had to say about schizophrenia? Use the mic. And after that, we can set up the prayer.
So I personally dealt with a family member that was plagued with that disease, a mental issue, and
mental disorder.
This disorder. Seeing him go through it, it's deep, man. Like, you cannot, no matter how much you trying to rationalize with them, show them that their delusions are just that, delusions, they don't want to hear it. And it's at the point where they were like at suspicion of everyone, even myself. Someone I've known for a very long time, someone very close to me. Like, they didn't trust me. They literally thought I was a devil. At times they thought I was like a undercover police. Like some strange stuff.
Right.
Like, I don't want to get too much detail, but the point was it was very, very stressful dealing with them. It became life-threatening at one point. Before I knew about the truth, I had invited the enemy into our home, and I almost lost that person because of that. Yeah. So, yeah, it was just, I just didn't know what to do at the time. So, I never thought I'll be dealing with that situation ever. I thought there's white people dealing with that stuff. But in the black community, there's lots of our people that's going through it, and they're not being diagnosed properly or getting the proper help, because the only help in our neighborhoods is the police, because all kind of mental health and things to help people, those kind of issues, that's been moved into the prison system.
Right.
So the way that they help you now is by putting you in jail, seeing a jail doctor, or just locking you away in general, not helping you at all, and that only increases the severity of the condition. So that's what I had to say on that one.
Right. Praise the Most High for your testimony. Let's clap it up for the brother. So I want to say, Ba'ashem, Amasyak Yahushai, the word of Yad, Aman. I want to say all praise to the Most High. It was a good class. I wish we had a little bit more time to go further into it. But I think as much as what we spoke about tonight, this was at least good enough to at least identify what was the issue, what was the problem, and why hasn't it ever been fixed. When we go further, we're going to see King Saul commit heinous atrocities, heinous crimes, things that you couldn't even fathom amongst the children of Israel. Unbelievable, heinous crimes. But this is what happens when we fail the Most High. When we disobey Heavenly Father, and when we choose to do what we want and not what He wants. Right? We're not here for no reason. Even us as Israelites, as we read this, we're not here for no reason. We're not here just to look good in garments and look good in hair scraps and look good wearing necklaces with the symbol of our people. We're here to keep God's commandments and teach our people, other of our people, to do so also. Right? So let's rise, face the east, face Jerusalem, face the ruins of our temple. With the sounding of the trumpet, we'll begin the clap with the prayer. The prayer scene first. Prayer scene first. Hallelujah!
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 Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Who's the power?
Yahweh's the power.
Ba'ashem?
Yahweh's shy.
Ba'ashem?
Yahweh's shy.
Psalms 133 in the Lashon Korash, repeat the Hebrew. Shayar,
Shiyah,
Hama'alwath,
Amayawath,
Ladawad,
Adawad,
Hana,
Ana,
Ma,
Ma,
Tawab,
Tawab,
Waima,
Wama,
Nayam,
Nayam,
Shabath,
Shabath,
Akyam,
Hakim,
Gum,
Gam,
Yaqad,
Yachad,
Kashaman,
Kashaman,
Hatawab,
Tatawab,
Al,
Ail,
Harash,
Haraash,
Yorad,
Yarad,
Al,
Ail,
Hazakwan,
Zakwan,
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 Aharan,
Aaron,
Shayarad,
Sayarad,
Al,
Ail,
Haya,
Paya,
Mariawathiwa,
Marawatwa,
Katol,
Katol,
Kamwamwan,
Haramwan,
Shayarad,
Sayarad,
Al,
Ail,
Haraya,
Horea,
Taziawan,
Tazayawan,
Kaya,
Kaya,
Sham,
Shem,
Tazawa,
Kazawa,
Yahweh,
Yahah,
Af,
Ath,
Abraka,
Rakat,
Kayam,
Kayam,
Aid,
Aid,
Alwam,
Aiwalam,
Bahashem,
Hashem,
Amasyak,
Mashiach,
Yahushai,
Yahushai,
Thawada,
Thawada,
Thamyad,
Damyad,
Aman.
Aman. Psalms 133. Behold, how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell together in unity. It is like the precious ointment upon the head, that ran down upon the beard, even Aaron's beard, that went down to the skirts of his garments. As the dew of Hermon, and as the dew that descended upon the mountains of Zion, for there the Lord commanded the blessing, even life forevermore. Ba'ashem, Hamashak Yahushai, Thawadatham Yad, Aman.
Aman. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Let's clap it up. Let me get some visual. All praise to the power go to the Most High, Yahweh Shema Yahushai. It was a powerful Friday history class, as we always have here at the Eli Zion, 2937 West Bar Boulevard. But tomorrow we'll be having a Shabbat service, and I want to say all praise to the Most High is going to be led by Chief Minister Shalom and whoever may be reading for him. Beside that, we'll have at the evening, at sundown, we'll be having the memorial blowing of trumpets. So whoever of the 12 tribes of Israel, Black, Hispanics, and Native Americans, they're all welcome to be here at the Liaison to celebrate it with us. So I want to say Shalom. I'm Captain Montezak, and reading for me is
Sabarakat, Shalom.
Shalom.